New Year!
Hello.
I'm meeting you, I'm Joe Pesci. Okay. Happy New Year! And welcome to the Popcorn Club 2015. Coming at ya with the 2K15. No?
Catchy.
Okay, fine. We kicked off the new year with a bang, or rather saw out the old year with a bang, by seeing Tim Burton's Big Eyes this week.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it was a good one to see out last year?
Based on a true story. It's one of those ones that's supposedly
biopic.
Based on true... Not a biopic, no.
No?
But based on a true story.
A true story is?
No.
Oh.
It is predominantly about the life of Margaret Keane, who...
Was she Keen Bean?
Not really. She wasn't really.
Not keen.
She of the big-eyed, the titular big-eyed artwork, which was very
Apparently
popular.
it was really popular.
Very popular
back in the day.
Back in the day in the Americas. Not being around back in that day, or from the Americas.
Didn't mean much to me, but...
But yeah. But it's essentially about how her husband takes credit for her work.
For 20
and she let
years.
it happen, and then eventually decides to not let it happen anymore.
Yeah. She makes a stand.
Amy Adams' performance is very good. I think that she does a good job of capturing the sort of the tortured soul behind the person, and has enough of that sort of burning ambition, yet subservience.
I got frustrated by the character, but then again, maybe that's my modern woman's judgment on a woman that was struggling with the kind of paradigms of and the views of the time. Like, I was just frustrated that she was so subservient for that 20 years and she didn't really do much for a lot of the film apart from do as she was told. It's only kind of in the last 20 minutes that you get the big kind of court case and she's like, no, I am going to go to Hawaii, when you've been like screaming for her to do something for the majority of the film. Story-wise, for me, I got a bit like, for God's sake, woman, snap out of it.
It's so much of her dealing with him and kind of putting up with him for so long before.
Like, there's not a lot of action from her side, is there? Like, he's this larger-than-life character. He dominates a lot of the film, playing a character that is very over-the-top, very a charmer, like could sell ice to the Eskimos. That's who Walter Keane is portrayed, and he really does portray that, like his life depends on it. Like, he dominates a lot of proceedings. You found him irritating. I thought he did quite well, because I think that was I assume that was the kind of guy he was. So what else do you...
When it came to the end and it came to the court case, and Margaret Keane talks about the two sides to his personality.
Oh, Jekyll and Hyde,
I think did a really good job of kind of portraying the sort of dominant, sleazier aspect of him. But even just seeing him supposedly in his element selling the ice to the Eskimos, it never really came across as that real and genuine. I was never really sold on the premise that he was equally at home in both worlds.
Where that came into play for me was more at the beginning of the film, where you see her meet Walter and get sucked into his kind of proposal and their life together. It all happens very, very quickly in a very short space of time. In that space of 5 minutes, she's met him and he's offering to like settle down with her. And
it was all the matter of circumstance whereby she kind of felt she had to.
And I didn't really buy it realistically, so that would be how quickly that sort of stuff would happen, because she barely knew him. I got a sleazy vibe from him as well, and you couldn't work out whether he was really being genuine or not. I think Tim Burton's take on stories is to play the fantastical angle of them and to make them seem larger than life and play that for comedic and dramatic effect. I assume that's what they were going for there. Like, it all happened so quickly, and they did make mention of it, like her friend going, oh, you've only just met him. That fantastical element that Tim Burton brings to storylines. This is the only film that I've seen of his that is based on a true story, and I don't know if I'd need to see things like Ed Wood, because I don't know if I like his style applied to something that actually happened. You know, some of the scenes where they are obviously, you know, not real, they're just extrapolations of thoughts and feelings, like where she goes around and sees everyone with big eyes, or where he comes in with the fork. Like, some of it worked, and some of it I thought, hang on, I don't know what's real and what's not here, and it got to me a little bit.
The whole scene with the fork, that did stick out in my mind. It worked when it was kind of her imagining and her getting caught up
because it's in her own mind, and that's obvious.
But it's like when it's happening, when it's a confrontation that we're watching, that everyone else
witnessed,
is watching, it's like, well, what's
real, what's not.
Which was, that was a little bit jarring.
And for some reason that was important to me, what's real and what's not. Mainly, I think because I knew it was a real, you know, based on a true story.
I think it looked gorgeous. It was, and it's shot by Bruno Del Bonell.
It had a lot of, at the beginning, when she kind of leaves her first husband, it reminded me, I don't know if it was exactly the same set, but it reminded me a lot of the Edward Scissorhands kind of suburbia, like all those little houses in rows, and she drives off to San Francisco.
As she was driving away in the countryside, I seemed to have been digitally manipulated to look like it was painted.
Yeah, it was. But even when she gets to San Francisco and that kind of turn at, you know, mid-century, all the colours, and then they go to Hawaii, which is beautiful. Yeah,
trademark of Tim Burton, the art direction.
Yeah,
and it's much less gothic and much more Technicolor.
So popcorns.
I think there's a lot to like in the film, and I've had quite a few issues based on true story films that we've seen this year. I think the last one was The Imitation Game. I don't think it's as good a film as that, but a lot of the issues that I have similar to that film that stem from the sort of true aspect are kind of more muted, because it feels like a much more charming and flighty tale. It's not quite as heavyweight.
No.
Some of the performances are very good. I think it looked beautiful, but I still don't think there was enough depth there, and I think the way that the film dealt with, as I say, her tale, and maybe it being hamstrung by what really happened, or just the way that the story unfolds over the course of 2 hours, it feels like it's much too heavily weighted on her pain as opposed to her empowerment of the situation.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
So I think I'd solid enough 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a really interesting story. Actually, I had no idea about the Keanes or the work that she did, and that he took credit for, or that there was this big kind of scandal, how popular it was to start with, and that there was this big cover-up about it. So it was a completely new story to me, one that I think was really interesting and a good one to tell. I can see why Tim Burton was attracted to it, because he likes that kind of you know, oddball misfit type characters. It's odd because the oddball character in this film is really Walter, the guy that decided to just lie for years and years about the work. But the film isn't told from his perspective, it's told from her perspective, and her story, as you say, should be about how she took control of the situation and ultimately got vindication. But it didn't seem to be about that a lot of the time, even though it was told from her angle. A lot of the action was dominated by Walter, so it just felt like the balance wasn't quite right, which was a shame, because, as you say, I like Tim Burton. I like his slant on things when he tells stories, and I like the way he designs films and the whole world around films. So mixed bag. So I think I'm gonna give it a 7 as well. Next week we are off to see Birdman, which I have seen a few trailers for now, and I'm quite excited about it. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Let us know if you saw Big Eyes, what you thought, and how you felt about the film, and we will see you next time for some Birdman action. No idea what that could or couldn't mean. We'll find out. See you then. Bye. Job done. We go home now. Oh wait, we are home.